Hello friends, you're the Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm gonna play Dungeon Degenerates, Hand of Doom. And it is published by Goblinko and designed by Eric Rayday. Now, before I want to start it, one thing is obvious in this game: the artwork is pretty unique, really special, and it is done by Sean Auberg, I guess that's how you spell that. And just want to give you a quick opportunity to look at the map before I place any counters or something on it, because it is so special and it looks so awesome. The map shows the borderlands of an empire called the Würstreich, and this blue area here, these are the lowlands, and we see here the main city of Brüttelburg. And from what I understand, this river here, which is the I'm not sure how it is called, the Stinkflood River or something like that. This river is basically the border to the empire of Würstreich, and then we have other areas here. Here the Witchwood, which technically belongs to the lowlands. We have here the highlands. We have the Badlands, the burning lakes here, which are also part of the Badlands, and then we have here the wetlands and the Tomb Lake, another part here. And from what I understand, this was also once a flourishing region, but then here from the wasteland and the burning lakes, some terrible geological phenomenon happened, and for example, I think the Hell Pit or something, this area here, I think that one opened up, and a lot of volcanism then happened, which created these burning lakes, and all this stuff then flew into this wet and fertile area, but it became now a rotting, smelling, sick swamp. And this before was a massive cemetery, and that was then flooded, and therefore it's now the Tomb Lake. And there's still some parts here, the graveyard here and the catacombs, some parts of this big necropolis, if you want to call it like that, which is now partly underwater. There's a lot of background to this world. We have, for example, here the guide to the Würstreich, and this is only about the Tomb Lake and the wetlands, and it tells you a ton of the backstory of all that stuff. And we have, for all the different areas, we have guides to them, and then we have additional dictionaries, or not dictionaries, but we have additional encyclopedias for the different monsters and the people that live in these areas. So it nearly feels like one of these old role-playing games, or not the old ones, also the modern ones, where you have tons and tons of background material to develop your own stories. And that alone makes it a pretty unique game, I think. And then, of course, in addition, we have this very, very special artwork here, which we'll see throughout the whole game. The game already has a few expansions. One, well, might call it a big box expansion, although the box isn't that big, but it's a real box, and that is Mean Streets, which adds a few new mechanics. I'm not going to play with that right now, because it is a fairly complex game, at least in some way, and I don't want to make too many mistakes, because this is just my second play now, so therefore I just want to stay with the basic rules. But I'm gonna add some of the hero expansions. They're basically, I think, 2 expansions with heroes. One is I think Freaks and Psychos, and the others is, I think, the Adventurer expansion. And then there is a small kind of a booster pack with, I don't know, 20 cards or so. So we're going to use that stuff. And this is a fully cooperative game. It's a campaign-based game, but you can play the different scenarios individually. And there are different branches then in the campaign, so you choose one outcome, or one outcome simply happens, and then it goes into a specific direction. And there is basically one single campaign in this missions book. I don't know how many missions there are. Might be about, hard to tell, maybe something like 20 or something, maybe even more. In addition to that, there are also more missions in at least 2 of these smaller books that I've shown you before, these The Guide to Würstreich, and I think there are also a few missions in the Mean Street expansion. So basically quite a bit to play with. I'm going to try to actually play a full mission, a full campaign. The game is not that long, so the missions are not that terribly long, I think. So a full campaign should be playable in, I think, I'm not sure, maybe 10 hours or so. And even, I did that even though I just started, so it's not terribly long. Okay, let's have a look at our heroes. First we have here, and by the way, these guys are at the moment all sitting at a dungeon, and I'm gonna tell you the introduction here so that you get some idea. That's kind of fun. Okay, here, this. Alles hat ein Ende, nur die Wurst hat zwei. That is a really stupid saying in Germany. It's a very stupid saying, actually, which basically means everything has its end, except for the worst, which has 2 ends. I mean, whatever that means. No, I mean, you sometimes say that in a funny way, just to say, well, everything comes to an end. So let's see. I wanted to go to the starting point here. Okay. That's it. As you rot in your filthy prison cell beneath the fortress city of Brüttelburg, a shady jailer comes to you, smelling of cheap gin and rancid oil, offering an illicit deal. He has found something valuable that he needs to keep hidden from his cruel and fanatical commander, the High Magistrate. Unable to leave his post, The jailer offers you your freedom if you will retrieve and deliver a package to his crooked cousin in Pigskin Port. Will you accept this generous offer or refuse him and plot an escape on your own terms? Okay, so basically this is the starting point of the campaign and a kind of a small introductory mission. And we've got 3 guys here that sit in the cell, in the prison cell. We have here the Bloodsport Brawler, this guy here, Jack Slasher, and a corpse burner. And you have no other choice who seems to be the most reasonable and the most normal one of these guys. I would say it's the Bloodsport Brawler. So let's see. Let's have a look here. So his crime is causing a public disturbance and unlicensed pit fighting. And his homeland is Brüttelburg. Until now I didn't find out what this information with the homeland, if that's in any way important, because everybody starts at Brüttelburg, but it's just some background. The Brawler is a brutal warrior, trained in the bloody fighting pits of Brüttelburg and Pigskin Port, where cheering throngs bet on the lives and deaths of the unfortunates forced into battle for the entertainment of the masses. She is a rough and tough killing machine, and she knows how to put on a bloody show. Having escaped the pits, the Bloodsport Brawler did any job she could find, doing what she does best, but a raid on an illicit fight soon put her in chains once again. Nevertheless, with her unrivaled muscle and burning lust for freedom, it's a safe bet that the Undercity dungeon won't hold her for long. Okay. So, first of all, we have a few stats here. This is these are her life points, and this is the maximum. This is her, well, her health value, or however you want to call it. So a very high one. This is her luck, which is pretty low. This is her starting money, which is for most characters 2. And this is her experience, also not too high though. But she has a lot of good values up here. She's got an agility of 8, constitution of 9, which is really good, magic of 5, which sucks, a morale of 8, which is also good, perception of 6, which isn't too great, and a fantastic strength of 9. The guy with the highest morale will be our group leader, and I want to make her the group leader. We got 2 people with a morale of 8, so let's say she is our group leader. Most of the time we're going to stay together as a group or as a party, and we're going to use the standee of the leader of the group as a representation here, and we're going to place that in Brüttelburg. By the way, there are miniatures available for this game, but they are pretty expensive, and so I didn't get them. I think, by the way, that this is a really fair offer. They did a Kickstarter for this, and it's not just a way to sell you tons of miniatures. You know, they don't make this terribly expensive, but they give you the option to say, okay, you can back it without buying the miniatures, and it was still pretty expensive. Or you can go really and invest a lot of money and in addition get the miniatures. But there are a lot of games out there that I actually would back if they were without the miniatures and you had, I don't know, standees, or in a way even better, simple chits. For some games, I could imagine that very well, and it would allow me to enjoy the mechanics, to enjoy the story, to enjoy the game. But some games, for example, the new one now, the Kickstarter was out now, I think it was Bloodborne. Yeah, exactly. I was really interested in that game, and it looked awesome, and of course the miniatures also looked great. But I'm one of these people who needs everything or nothing, right? So if I wanted to buy, I think it was close to 400 euros, and this is just ridiculous. If they would have offered a Kickstarter without the miniatures, or with, for example, just the hero miniatures, and for the monsters, you would then simply have beautiful done markers or chits, like for example in Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, where the monster markers, they really look good, you know, and I don't need miniatures for those. So I would have backed the game, but not for 400 bucks. This is just not worth it, I think. Anyway, okay, we gotta find here a spiked gauntlet and the war paint, and then we also need a skill for her, which is the foe killer. So let's find that stuff. Okay, she's got 2 items. One of them is the spike gauntlet, and that works as a weapon. She can attack with it. She can use its strength, or she can use, in a more defensive attack way, the agility here. Apart from that, there is nothing special going on with this item. It's a heavy item, as you can see here, and it's worth $6. Oh, and there's also some requirement down here, as you can see. A required strength of 6, which she easily has with her 9. Then we've got the war paint, and that says discard the card to become blessed and exalted. So she can do this under 2 different circumstances. The first one would be that she is in a bold condition, basically inside a town. This is the combination of these 2. Or if she rests, then she can discard this thing, paint her face like this, and then she becomes blessed and exalted. We're going to need that later. And also this. And a foe, her skill is the foe killer. Your melee attacks inflict +1 damage against targets with an experience value of 3 or more. Okay? For now, this isn't too helpful because when we set up the game, as you can see here, we have for every area basically 2 decks, 1 encounter decks and 1 monster deck. And at the beginning, all these 3 experience points monsters, you can see the 3 and then this lightning symbol there next to it, all these 3 experience point monsters, they are sorted out. And just when you've been gone once through the deck, and when you have to reshuffle the deck with the discard pile, then these monsters will actually enter the game. So for now, this foe killer ability doesn't do us any good. However, we could improve that for mastery, and then it says your melee attack against targets with XP value 2 or more inflict +1 damage and ignore 1 point of armor. So that thing is pretty awesome. To get there, we would need 8 experience points. So this is what we have to pay basically, I mean, this is now our starting skill, but if we want to acquire a new skill, we had to pay this number of experience, and this is also what we have to pay to become master of a skill. So we got to pay it a second time basically. Right now we have 4 experience. 4 more isn't too much, so we should be able to get the mastery there pretty soon. Our next character is Jack Slasher. And let's see. Wow, he's a murderer and his homeland is the fields. This lanky loner lurks amongst the fields, wearing the tattered old clothes of a young farm hand, a strange, quiet lad gone missing some 6 years past. Hiding the features of this strange apparition is the Kürbismaske, a glowing carved pumpkin hat normally worn by heretics of the lowlands for the traditional and illegal harvest festival of Kürbisnacht. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of German or half-German words in this game, and so this is not some kind of German or half-German edition of the game. This is simply a fable of the designer, I guess. Locals blame him for ferociously mutilated pumpkin patches, missing farm animals, and even lone travelers lost forever in the trails through the corn and wheat. His name is left scratched on the rotting wooden planks of barns and fences of the lowlands. Across the Würstreich, all the children know, if you don't behave, the Jack Slasher will come for you. Okay, this is a really bad guy, it seems. I mean, she is still some kind of hero, right? This is a really bad guy. Yeah, let's see what we get. And by the way, there are also some... the way she gains luck. Luck is pretty important because it basically gives you a reroll. When you win a fight, gain 1 luck for each trophy you have with experience value 3 or more. Okay, that's cool, but at the beginning, as I already said, that's pretty surely not going to happen because there are no monsters with a value of 3 out there. Okay, here we want to find, oops, where is it? The pumpkin hat and the skinning knife. And the skill is bloodlust. Wow, this is really, I mean, this is really a nasty pal. So, the pumpkin hat. An ancient symbol of the pumpkin cult, worn at the festival of Kürbisnacht to ward away evil spirits and celebrate the harvest. You may use magic when you test against fear. Okay. The skinning knife. A weapon, obviously. You can use it to attack. We need agility to do it. Our agility is 8. Attacks with this item against filth ignore 1 armor. Okay, that's cool. Now, let's take a closer look here. We've got 14 health points available, 1 luck, 2 bucks, but we start with impressive 10 experience, which probably comes from all the murders we did already. And it says here, make a magical test when you destroy a monster while you are focused, and if you pass, gain 1 luck. Okay. And we have the Bloodlust. Make a magical test when you destroy an enemy. If you pass, you become invigorated and focused. Okay. Well, that's interesting, because here the timing obviously now becomes kind of an issue. I mean, what happens first, right? Okay, I think basically, no, it's pretty obvious. I think you can only make this test to gain luck when you already are focused while destroying the monster. So that means basically first you have to do this test to become focused, and then if you destroy a monster later, you will be able to gain luck. So that's pretty cool, because in this way this guy might be able to gain quite a bit of luck, which means re-rolls during the game. I'm pretty sure about that. For her it's going to be much harder. On the other hand, his stats are not half as impressive. Excuse me. His stats are not half as impressive as the Bloodsport Brawlers. He's got an agility of 8, constitution of 7, magic of 7, a morale only of 5, which makes sense, perception of 6, strength of 7. So that's not too great if you compare that. He's at 8, 9, 5, 8, 6, 9, and here we have 8, 7, 7, 5, 6, 7. So this is a big difference there. But on the other hand, for him it's easier to get additional luck. So last but not least, we have the Corpse Burner. This nice chap. And his crime is grave robbery. His homeland is obviously the necropolis. The Corpse Burner began life as one of the many orphans raised on the ghoulish grounds of the necropolis, the Wüstreich's city of the dead, a land of ruined graves and old bones, watched over by the macabre monks of the Holy Order. This is basically more or less this whole area here. Holy Order is here. The graveyards, catacombs, the Ghost Gate. As the shadowy hand of the necromancer passed over the land, and the dead became fuel for unholy experiments, the orphans of the order were charged with digging up the dead and burning the flesh from their bones. These charred bones were then collected and sent to the Holy Order to be etched with holy symbols and enshrined into the Gothic arches of the necropolis. Dreaming of the wonders of the outside world, the Corpse Burner started his own collection from the jewelry and gold teeth sent with the dead, saving a secret stash to one day escape his miserable lot in life and leave the necropolis far behind. If only the stash had been as secret as he'd thought. Okay, I mean, in a way, he's kind of a friendly loser compared to this brutal murder here. So we got to find a death mask and the grave shovel, and the skill is burly. So let's take a look at his starting items. The grave shovel, a heavy item, as you can see here, and yeah, it's basically a weapon that allows him to attack against his strength value. If you would make a perception test while searching, you may make a strength test instead. Yeah, that helps a little. His perception is 7, his strength is 8. And then he wears the death mask. A uniform for those who work within the sprawling necropolis, worn by the grave monks and corpse burners of the Holy Order. You are immune to fear and necro from the undead. Other monsters with fear or necro affect you normally. So yeah, these are obviously some special abilities that the monsters have, and we are immune to those. His skill is burly. You may carry an additional heavy item. That comes in handy. Usually your carrying limit for item is 2 heavy items. You can have as many of any other items as you want, but only up to 2 heavy items. So 1 additional heavy item is always cool. When you win a fight, if you destroyed any undead, make a morale test and gain 1 luck if you pass. That is pretty cool. His morale isn't that low, so he also has good odds, I guess, to gain luck during the game. Right now his starting luck is only 1. He has quite a bit of money though, so obviously all the jewelry from the dead paid out a little after all. 6 starting money. He also has quite some experience, 10, and his life points are also not too bad, are actually pretty good, 16. So these are our degenerates. Now before we actually start, we are allowed to draw random weaknesses. We have here a pile of weakness cards. And by the way, each of these guys also comes with suggested skills and suggested weaknesses, but I'm not going to use that. I like randomization a lot, and so I'm going to draw now maybe weakness cards, but because these guys already have a lot of experience, I'm not going to draw for them, because what these weaknesses do is, apart from giving you some negative some negative characteristics, they will give you some additional experience. But I think the only one who really wants that is her, because she doesn't have a lot. So maybe I'm going to draw 1 or maybe even 2 weakness cards for her. You can draw up to 2 at the beginning of the game. That is allowed. So let's draw 1. Okay, now our tough Bloodsport Brawler is an animal lover. For you there is no glory to be gained from slaying a hungry beast, even in self-defense. When you win a fight, if you destroyed 1 or more filth, make a morale test, and if you fail, you become demoralized. Oh, that's cute. So her morale is pretty high. So actually, this isn't too bad for her. And that gives her 2 additional experience points. So we would be now at 6. We have these little counters here. So now we have 6 experience points. And if I want to buy the mastery for the foe killer, I would need 2 more experience points. And I would love to do that. So I'm going to draw another weakness here. And that says battle crazed. That makes sense. Death or glory. When you attempt to escape from a fight, you must first make a morale test. If you fail, you must choose a different combat action or attack this turn. You cannot escape this turn. Okay? This is only possible for specific classes of heroes, but she's a fighter, so that is perfectly fine with her. character. And that gives us 4 experience points. Not bad at all. So we have also now 10 experience points. And that will allow us to improve the foe killer, for example. But not right now. We can only do this during a rest action, and we'll come to this a little later. Okay, let's finish the setup here. Okay, so there is this offer of the jailer, that we can bring a priceless object to Pigskin Port. We accept this or not? Well, honestly, if I play these campaign games, I find it very hard to make clear choices, and I want a little bit of randomization in the story. So what I'm going to do is, on a 1 to 4, I'm going to accept the offer. On a 5 or 6, I won't. So let's see. And we will actually, it's a 3. So we're going to take that object. And it's the Soothsayer's head. This head of a mummified mystic is the jailer's prized object, which you must deliver to Pigskin Port if you wish to honor your part of the deal. Imbued with some trace of his magic beyond death, the Soothsayer's cold lips whisper sage warnings mixed with utter nonsense in ancient languages. Okay, so that's the thing, and our objective now is: you may complete this mission when all adventurers rest together as a party at clue 1, 2, or 3, Pigskin Port, Gutfish Fort, or Stone Circle, with or without the Soothsayer's head. Okay, fine. First, we gotta find the Soothsayer's head. I mean, we could also simply go now without it, but that sounds terribly boring. So we're gonna try to find that thing. And in doing so, we have to move here to the crossroads. There's a clue there. And then we gotta rest there. And I think if we explore the area, then we will find that head. And from then on, we can decide where we want to go. Up here is Pigskin Port. Here is Gutfish Fort. And the 4th clue is the Stone Circle. But yeah, our first goal is the crossroads. Okay, so the flow of the game is the following. First, all the different parties will move or will have a so-called map action. And the party with the highest morale value of the party leader will go first, and then it's in descending order. In this case, and probably in most cases, we have only a single party. So basically our heroes will do, or the party will do a map action, and after that we got to draw a danger card and resolve that, and then so this is called then the map action phase, the danger phase, and then if the danger card forces us into an encounter phase, we will have to resolve that one too, which will usually consist of an encounter and a fight. So let's start now with our map actions. Basically, you have two options to make it simple. We can either move or we can rest. In the first turn, I want to stay for one more turn here in Brittelburg and rest, because while resting, on the other hand, do I really want to do that? I gotta rest here anyway if I want to find that head. So maybe I don't want to do it. We only have limited time. You can see here all these brown numbers. They show a danger level of a specific location or area. Some of these spaces are locations like the graveyard, for example, here, or the catacombs. And some are areas like the fields, for example, and then there are locations like, for example, the crossroads, which are part of the fields. So the fields show then the danger level for, in this case, also for the crossroads. Now, an area basically also consists of different spaces. Each location, but also each road, these are roads, and also paths, and these brown areas here, these are paths. These are all different spaces. Now, if you decide to move, you can choose basically between two ways of moving. You can either move bold or you can move cautious. If you move bold, you can travel the road from one space or from one location to the next location. If you move cautious, you only move into an adjacent space. So basically you end up in the road, and then in a follow-up turn you can move again and then go to the crossroads, for example. If you want to move along a path, you always have to kind of stop in the middle of the path. So even if you move bold, you cannot force march, and that is what it's called. This moving from completely across a path means, or a road means, that you force march. Otherwise you just move by foot. I think that's, yeah, otherwise it's foot travel, and so that means just moving into an adjacent space, but force march allows you to move into the next location. This is not possible with a path, except that you explored the path before. Then you are allowed to force march through that explored path. But I forgot to explain when the game actually ends. So we have these different locations, these different danger levels here. Now, if one of these danger levels will increase due to the danger cards. If one of these danger levels reaches a 6 and then would increase even further, we would have to place a doom marker on top here. And then also this hand of doom, which is kind of a weird big marker somewhere here. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, then also this hand of doom here would be placed somewhere on the map, which is indicated by the danger card. And I have no idea what it does, because I've never come to that point. But basically, when this whole track is filled, then we would have lost the game. When I played my last campaign, not a single marker was placed there. I don't know if I played it so terribly wrong or if I was so terribly lucky, but we'll see what happens this time. Okay, so let's start our movement now. I want to force march, which means that I have to take this bold condition here, bold stance. I want to force march from Brüttelburg to the crossroads. Okay, fine. Now, after doing that, I have to make tests. And I'm going to have to make now condition tests, because I force marched and it is possible that some of my party become fatigued. Now, test is pretty simple. We have a condition value, we roll 2 dice, and if the 2 dice are equal to or less than our condition value, then we're fine. So let's see, the Bloodsport guy, the Bloodsport lady, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make this mistake a few times. She's has to roll a 9, and she just did it, but she's fine. Jack Slasher needs a 7, which he has, a 6 here. And the Corpse Burner needs an 8, and that is also good. So, and that means we're all good. Basically, if you're fatigued, it simply means that you are not allowed to do a force march. As long as you're fatigued, and you're gonna have to rest to get rid of that fatigue condition. So that was my map action, pretty much. You can see here there's a list of map actions, and most of them are specific travel actions. So you can simply do the standard travel to an adjacent space, the force march. You can use the waterways to travel. You can rest. There is some kind of very special traveling through the void, kind of some other dimension. But that's all not of any interest right now. So we're sitting at the crossroads, and at the end of a map action phase, we got to draw a danger card, as I already said. And we can see here now, it says, pilgrims have been vanishing and the dead go missing from the vast crypts dug beneath the Holy Order. Okay, so that means the danger level will increase here at this location, which is at the top of the card, the Holy Order. Okay, I've told you that the danger level is brown. And that is still true. This is kind of I don't know if it's called a settlement level or city level or whatever. And here it works in a different way. The higher it is, the better. So that means, in this case, we got to reduce this settlement level, and it goes down from 3 to 2. If it should be at 1 and then it should be reduced again, it would actually become a non-settlement and become a brown card, a brown marker then. But that's not too likely to happen. Okay, then we got to check these 2 values here. Now the question is, first of all, this left symbol here means outside, and this symbol here means inside. Okay, we can have a look here. We have here also 2 symbols. This one is the outside symbol, and that symbol here means this is a law space. So it is possible to meet servants of the law in this space, but in this case it's not going to happen. But because we are outside, it's a 3. 3 means, or basically we have to compare now our location's danger level, not the city level. In a city we are always safe, but the danger level of our location to this number here. And if the level is equal or less than that number, we have an encounter. So here, as the crossroads say, they are part of the fields. The danger level of the fields is 2. And actually, I think I messed this up. No. The danger level has to be equal or higher. And I always make that mistake. I'm pretty sure about that. So the number of the card has to be equal or lower to actually trigger an encounter. Otherwise it would not make a lot of sense. These rules are a lot of rules here. So the value of the card has to be equal or less than the danger level in your current space. Okay, so that means we're actually safe because this is higher. Cool. So we don't have to continue with the card. We're not going to draw any monsters here. Nothing else happens during this turn. Very well. Next turn, we have again our map action phase, and now we want to rest in this space simply because we want to find the Soothsayer's head. So these are the different rest actions here. First we have to make a morale test, and this will determine if we can successfully recover and how many points we can recover. If you don't have any wounds, you don't have to make that test, except there might be some disadvantages. For example, some weaknesses tell you when you fail a morale test during your rest action or during your recover action, you will suffer some disadvantage. But we don't have this here, and because nobody else has any kind of wounds, we don't have to do the recover test here. And then we can explore. Basically, one character should do that after another, and we can do as many of these as we want. We can do them in any order we want, especially that we have to start with the recover action. And some are a little limited though. For example, investing or trading is only possible in a settlement or in a town, and the exploration is only possible if we rested in a bold stand, which we did. I sometimes will forget to tell that, but usually I think I'm going to go bold, and if I'm going to go, if I will be cautious, I will say that before. So let's see what we're going to do here. Well, I think I want to start with the guy who has the highest perception, which is going to be the corpse burner. And is that so? Yeah, makes sense. So I'm going to allow this guy to do the exploration test, and he's going to try to find the Soothsayer's head. So that means he basically has to roll a 7 to be successful here. And he does that. Okay, now let's see what that means. We got to go to the mission book now. And there we go. When you successfully explore at clue, remove the clue 6 and draw a random card from the mission deck. Okay, let me see. Gosh, where are these items? Shit, I might have mixed them into the deck. That would have been pretty stupid, but it looks pretty much like it. Okay, after we've explored an area, we got to place this exploration marker in there, and then we're gonna remove this thing. And honestly, I don't know what that exploration marker actually does here. I don't know if it gives us any advantage. I know you got to have an exploration marker on a path to be able to force march along that path. But I have no idea if the exploration markers give you any advantage on a location or on a road. And that is something that I kind of experience with the rules a little bit. There's a lot going on here, and I have no idea what it actually will do at some later point. Maybe there are cards which kind of apply to these markers or whatever, but I haven't found any until now. Okay, anyway, now we got to roll a die here because we have 2 items in our mission deck. Okay, and this had to be prepared before: the fungal parasite and the Soothsayer's hat. Now we're simply going to roll now which one item we're going to find first. On a 1 to 3, it's the left one. I'm not going to shuffle these 2. Okay, we're allowed to take this one, and that is the fungal parasite. Okay, oops. Okay, if you draw the fungal parasite first, you must take that card. You become sick from handling the mummified head, and then draw again the Soothsayer's hat. So there's a 50-50 chance that you get this disease first. And well, it doesn't look too different. So the disease means that we have a -1 constitution, which reduces our life points, because the life points are always double the constitution. So this goes now back to 14, which isn't great at all. On the other hand, we have a +1 magic. That's kind of cool. So we have now a magic of 6, which is still pretty weak. Okay, it says, if we are in a bold stance and in a city, if you are at Brüttelburg or the Holy Order, you may pay 10 gold points to discard this card, then take d6 piercing damage and you become poisoned. Yeah, okay. I think the fungal parasite is not necessarily a terribly bad card. So, then we also have the Soothsayer's head now. There it is. You may pay the Soothsayer's head 1 luck to look at the value of any face-down clue counter on the board. We can do that either if we are in a city or if we rest. Okay. And by the way, I can see that now. Only if you have a magic of 7 or if you are Puritan, you can actually use this thing. You can carry all kinds of items, but some require specific, characteristics or abilities, and only then you can use them. But this guy is a Puritan, so he could actually use that, but it doesn't do us any good, because in this game or in this mission, it doesn't matter what numbers are on the bottom of these clues. So yeah, it might be interesting for other missions. Okay. Let's see. So we found the Soothsayer's head. And it says, when you dig up the Soothsayer's head, its haunting, raspy voice whispers to you in an ancient tongue. If any adventurer in the party meets the requirements of the Soothsayer's head card, okay, they can make sense of his desperate pleas to be returned to his home at Stone Circle. Okay, so that means we have now the option to bring the Soothsayer's head to the jailer's cousin. You might get a reward there. Then again, it could be a trap. In any case, Pigskin Port is a good place to look for work. So that would be up here. How can we get there? Well, basically we gotta, this bridge here is destroyed. Or no, it's not, it's a destroyed marker. But the story tells it is so heavily guarded at the moment that we cannot cross the bridge. So that means, we gotta go then like this, East Bridge, Witch Hill, and from there we could go to the Watchtower and then here. I already told you about river traveling, but you can only travel downward the river. So basically the river goes here, we can either go like this, or we can follow this path down here, but we cannot go up the river. Okay, so what other options do we have now to continue? And I'm not going to go through this right now to the path. I'm just going to go through this. Gutfish Fort. You could leave the Soothsayer's head in the ground and get as far away from Brüttelburg as possible outside the reach of imperial law. This rundown backwater stilt village could be a perfect place to hide out, and perhaps the Soothsayer's head will be of some use to the village elders there. So that would be here, Gutfish Fort. To get there, I think the quickest way is also to the East Bridge, Witch Hill, and then one more step to Gutfish Fort. So that actually seems a little closer than Pigskin Port to me. The last option would be the Stone Circle. Surely the warlocks of the Circle would offer a decent price for the Soothsayer's head. If not, at least you'll be safe from the law out there in the middle of the swamp. Okay, so the Stone Circle is right here. I think I'm simply going to go with even odds for everything here. So on a 1 or 2 we're going to go there, 3 or 4 here, 5 or 6 here. Okay, so my plan is to go to the Stone Circle and bring the head home. But before we do that, we can do more rest actions here. Especially what I want to do is I want to improve. This is one other rest action. I can spend experience points to get either additional skill cards or to flip a skill card that I own to mastery. Now I don't think this card is terribly valuable at mastery, so what I want to do is I want to try to find a new skill for me. Technically I'm allowed to pick any skill of this deck. Not quite. I mean, most of them have specific requirements. But there are a lot of skills I could pick off here. However, I'm terribly bad in picking skills. I don't know why. I'm just not, it's not my way of playing. I kind of like randomness in my game, and I'm kind of afraid of, if I would do it, I would always do the same with the same characters and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle this thing and draw 5 skills here, and then I'm going to pick between these 5 skills. Okay, so basically everybody has 10 points, so that means basically everyone has the chance to get an improvement here. Usually they cost you between 6 and 10, sometimes a little more. So let's see what we got. I mean, this guy is probably improving his focular ability, but maybe we find something other interesting. He could, for example, this would work, the martial discipline. He is a fighter. You are immune to annoy and taunt. that is something that these are some specific abilities of monsters. I don't think this is terribly interesting. This needs a morale of 8. We have that. Dauntless. You may lose morale for force march tests in place of constitution. That doesn't help us a bit. We have a constitution of 9, so we're not going to do that. Immunity. Rogue, Scholar, Warlock or Wild. So we're not allowed to take that. Misdirection. Performer, Reptilian or Wizard. Well, I am a performer. So let's see what that says. If this card is attached to a monster during the established target step, you may choose that monster's target. What? It probably makes sense here. Quick action. Let's start with that. Choose a target monster and make an agility or magical test. If you pass and your highest single die is equal to or greater than the target's experience value, place this card on the target. Okay, so I'm pretty good in agility, so that could be an idea to use that thing. If this card is attached to a monster during the established target step, you may choose that monster's target. I see. Return this card to your hand if you or the attached monster leaves the fight for any reason. This skill has no effect on monsters that target all. Okay, that is actually a pretty cool card, I think. But I think my Foe Killer is even better. I cannot use the clause because it says Reptilian, Warlock or Lycanthrope. So I think I'm going to go with a Foe Killer here, improve that. Your melee attack against targets with experience 2 or more inflict +1 damage and ignore 1 point of armor. I think that's awesome. So we got to spend 8 points of experience. So this goes down. And that was then his improvement action. Now, let's see what we have here. Okay, so the Blood Curse doesn't work because he's a Warlock. Rage would be an option. He's got a strength. No, actually it isn't, because it's a strength of 8. No way here. Morale 6. That also doesn't work. Warlock or Wizard. No way here. What is that? Rogue, Scholar, Warlock or Wild. Immunity. If you should become poisoned, first roll a d6. If your roll is equal to or greater than your wounds, you are not poisoned. Okay, that's kind of sweet. I have to take that because I cannot take the others, and I think it's also not terribly bad. So we're gonna pay 8 experience points, and I got now this immunity thing here. Fine. And eventually we have our Corpse Burner. Okay, this means Gourmet, morale less than 9. I like that one. At the end of a fight, you may consume 1 brute, filth, or goblin that your party destroyed. If you do, make a constitution test. We have an 8, so that's not bad. If you pass, recover wounds equal to your lowest single die. If you fail, you become poisoned. Well, the problem is my constitution is at the moment -1. So I think it's maybe not the best idea. The Inquisitor. Your attacks, and can I do that? Puritan, yeah, I could. Your attacks inflict +1 damage against demons and heretics. That's not bad, I might take that one. Lurker, agility 7 and perception 7. I have both. During a fight, you may skip your turn and act last, after all other adventurers in your party have taken a turn. So the thing is that when you fight, it goes in perception order, and this guy is the guy with the highest perception, because the others only have a perception of 6. So he would be the one who goes first. So this kind of comes in handy because, yeah, I could then simply choose to go last, and that can sometimes be very useful. So these both make sense. I cannot use that one. And I also cannot use this one because it requires a magic of 9. So basically my choice would be that one or upgrading this one. But I don't think this is terribly awesome. I think I'm going to go with the Lurker. Okay, cool. So in this way I can still make some choices usually. And in addition, sometimes I'm going to also take abilities that I otherwise would probably not take. I don't know if the immunity is that great, but okay, I had to take it, but that's fine. I can explore this a little more. Okay, and I had to pay here 6 experience points for the Lurker. Okay. That's pretty much the end now of our rest action. And what we got to do now is, because that was also a map action, we come now to the danger phase and we got to draw a card. Okay, and it says, slimy things claw their way from black depths onto the shores of Tomb Lake. Okay. So we got to place a, this increases to 4. There we go. And we got a 5. And again, I'm not sure what that is. Oh gosh, I always forget it. Does it have to be higher or lower? I think it has to be lower, right? It makes sense. The more dangerous the place is, so probably the number has to be lower, the number on the card. Otherwise, it would not make a lot of sense. But for some reason, I find it really hard to remember that. Yes. Yeah, of course. Okay. So again, we're safe. No encounters there because it's still a 2. Pretty awesome. Nothing happened here. We managed to find the Soothsayer's head. Sadly, we ended also up with a fungal parasite, but that's okay. We managed to improve our heroes a little. And our plan is now, after this guy heard the Soothsayer's head whispering that his home is here and that he definitely wants to go here to the stone circle, we decided to actually bring him home. Okay, so I think this is a good time to load this up. We've seen no battle in these first 2 turns, but I'm pretty sure this will change in the next video. Hope to see you then or at lonesomegamer.com. Bye!